Howdy, howdy. This is Jordan Jones with the Writer's Playground, and today I'm going to go in on the journal for Do the Right Thing, the companion book to the movie by Spike Lee. Like I said before, my favorite movie, and still waiting on my camera and my microphone, so gotta work with what I got. So hopefully, audio-wise, you can hear me. You can obviously see me. Not the most high-def technology right now, but hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. So he starts off his journal at December 25th, Merry Christmas, 1987, which is 8 years before I was born. Wait, I'm bad at math. 7 years before I was born. Here we go. You didn't hear that. 7 years, not 8. So, it's interesting. I like this first paragraph. It's 9 in the morning, and I'm sitting down to get started on my next project, Do the Right Thing. Hope to start shooting next August, which is a pretty important point because he basically wants to set the scene of the theme of the movie as the hottest day of the year. So my birthday, August, yeah, definitely one of the hottest times of the year, for sure. So I'm a Cali hot boy, and I want the film to take place over the course of one day, the hottest day of the year, in Brooklyn, New York. And he says the audience should feel like it's suffocating, like In the Heat of the Night, which is also a hot themed movie, if you will. I want to go on to also talk about basically the setting that he wanted originally. I want most of the film to take place on one block. So I need to scout a block of Brooklyn with vicious brownstones. We can build sets for the interiors, but most scenes will take place in the street and on the stoops and fire escapes. And I think one of the most fascinating things I found about this film is they use the same actors, same actresses, same extras throughout the film. So you'll see some of the main characters just walking around in the background, even when it's not their particular scene, which is really cool. So I went back and watched the movie again, and yeah, you can see Giancarlo Esposito walking in the background. You'll see, Spike walking in the background, all the actors and actresses in the background, even when it's not their scene, which is pretty cool. So I'll probably have to break this journal part up into several parts just because it's one of the longest parts of the book, but I'll try and be brief and, work my way through it, but it's a podcast, so it's supposed to be long, so be patient. I will, I'll expedite this. It's been my observation that when the temperature rises beyond a certain point, people lose it, which is very true. I find that, especially, California, which is where I live, the homeless problem gets exacerbated in the summer. See a lot more fights, because it's warm, people are out later. So I feel like that has a lot to do with it. But, the heat makes everything explosive, including the racial climate of the city. Racial tensions in the city are high as it is. But when the weather is hot, forget about it. This might be the core of a vicious climax for the film, which, this is like his earliest journaling, but obviously if you've seen the film, at the end, there's the incident with Radio Raheem and the police, and, ends up setting off a riot, so, Although Black and Puerto Rican residents seem to get along with the Italian family, there is still an undercurrent of hostility. which you can also see in the film. Hopefully I don't get their name wrong. Pino and Vito, and their father. I mean, they conduct business with the black community, obviously, but there's always a little bit of tension there, and there are quite a few scenes, in particular one with Giancarlo Esposito asking for extra cheese on this pizza. The scene with Radio Raheem where his radio gets destroyed by a baseball bat because honestly he was kind of being a dickhead. Like, he wouldn't turn his radio off in the spot, but Brad didn't have to break his radio. You know what I mean? But yeah, he does a good job of very visually painting the picture of the tension. So I thought that was interesting. Along here. With the incident, the one at the end of the movie that I said, he says, "I'm making an allusion to the Howard Beach incident by using a pizza parlor. The white kids in this case could be the sons of the owner of the pizzeria. Danny Aiello would be good for the role of the owner, but depending on how big the role is, I could ask Bob De Niro." It ended up being Danny Aiello. I'm going to try and move a little faster here. The station's name is We Love Radio. It broadcasts from a storefront on the block. The DJ looks directly out onto the street and observes all the comings and goings. Passerbys can watch him as he rocks the mic. This is going to be very stylized. And the DJ's name is Mr. Senior Love Daddy. The world's only 724 365 DJ. And yeah, that ended up being Samuel L. Jackson, who did a really good job in that role, for sure. Playing on the final words of School Days, Please Wake Up. The first word to Do the Right Thing could be the DJ's Hello Nueva New York. It's time to wake up. It's going to be hot as a mofo. Just for YouTube, I'm not going to say, but you know what he's saying. Let's see. And he has a couple lines here from Ossie Davis, who is the storyteller. That's right. Hot as a mofo. Of course, y'all can't use that kind of language on the radio, but if you could, that's what Senior Love Daddy would say. It was so hot. And I actually got to rewatch the movie again to see if this is the actual line. There's going to be a difference between some of the things in the journal and how the actual final cut came out, because, doing editing, you have red tape, some stuff that, producers or actors just don't want in there, so that's a good point to keep in mind. But I will be rewatching the movie tonight. I just decided to dive into this. Probably should have prepared more, but it is what it is, man. Let's see here. I have something with people, and I think at this stage it would be a mistake not to take this into consideration as I do the right thing. Which is interesting because he also plays in the movie, and he is an underrated actor. And great personality. And yeah, I think Spike Lee is a great actor as well as director, for sure. I do realize my limits as an actor. I can never carry an entire movie, nor would I want to. But I know the things I can do. In this film, I might want to play a crazy, crazy kid, a psychopath, a madman. But he's funny. The kind who would kill somebody for stepping on his new sneakers, Air Jordans, no doubt. I see a black couple as being important characters in the film, which ended up being Ossie Davis and jeez. Let's see. Oh boy. Ossie Davis and I forget the sister's name. Damn, I am unprepared. let's see here. Let's go to credits. So Ossie Davis Jr. and well, it's fitting that I'm unprepared for the start of my YouTube career. You know, saw I guess the learning curves getting started. Might edit this out. I probably won't, just because I don't know, I want this to be as authentic as possible. Here we go. So the mayor, Ossie Davis, and mother sister, played by Rudy. So there we go. I'm just gonna fold up that page in case my dumbass forgets any actors or actresses along the way. I thought this was funny. He included in his journal a list of nicknames that he was going to attribute to certain characters. So I picked out a few of my favorites. Sassy Sarah, Puddinhead, like pudding, but Puddinhead, Lockjaw, Sweet Feet, Mookie, which ended up being Spike Lee's character's nickname, Night Train, which I believe is a football player. He played for the Raiders, I believe. I believe that was his nickname, so that's pretty cool. Too Tall. Let's see, what's more of my favorites? Oh yeah, Monk, of course. Black Jesus, which ended up being a TV show starring, what's that brother's name? Come back to me. Oh, Slink Johnson. Very funny comedian. Let's see. West Indian Willie, very specific. Indestructible, I like that one. Sweet Dick Willie, and John Bone. Cornbread, and Be So Mighty. Some interesting ones in there. I think if I had to look just off the top, I would pick Lockjaw. I don't know why, that just sounds cool. So, I'd pick Lockjaw. Some interesting nicknames there. Oh, and he outlines a scene that he actually does in the movie. A man drives down the street in a convertible. He pleads with the kids not to wet him, and they promise not to. One kid even stands in front of the hydrant. The kid moves and the convertible is instantly soaked. The driver gets out and chases after the kid, only to be hit by a blast of water from the fire hydrant. And that actually did happen in the movie, and the police come, the guy's throwing a fucking fit, white dude, black kids, and, the white police officers show up, who are later the ones to actually kill Radio Raheem, and he's asking them, can you arrest these kids or whoa, whoa? And the cops are just like, shut off the hydrant. Like, we basically don't have time for this shit. So, that was an interesting scene. There ought to be, moving a little bit down the page here, there ought to be an old lady who sits in her window, minding the block's business. She never leaves the window, or so it seems. And she doesn't miss a thing either. Ruby Dee would be a great choice for this film, which, as we know, she did end up playing Mother Sister. Let's see. Try and skip along here. The look of the film should be bright. The light in daytime should be an intense white light, almost blinding, and the colors are bright. I mean Puerto Rican bright, Afrocentric bright. Everybody will be wearing shorts and cut-off jeans. Men will be shirtless. Women in tube tops. I think one of my favorite parts in the movie is seeing the three brothers. Good thing I got this right here. Sweet Dick Willie, that made it in the movie. Coconut Sid, I believe, and let's see, who was the other gentleman? I think ML, played by Paul Benjamin, Frankie Faison, and Robin Harris. Those three brothers, when they sit, in their chairs on the block, and they basically talk shit all day, drink beer, and they make you feel like the movie is hot. Like, them brothers were sweating like a motherfucker. I think one of them had their shirt open. Like, I don't know, he does a really good job of painting the picture of the hottest day of summer in New York. So, he definitely did a good job with that. With the release of School Days, there will be another slew of actors that I've worked with before who want roles in the new film. That's fine, but I want to do the right thing fresh with new faces. It's always exciting to see a new face give a good performance. And I might be wrong on this, but I believe this was like Rosie Perez's like breakout role, if I'm not mistaken. I'll probably have to look into that, but I know she definitely benefited from that movie. Let's see, what else here? I don't know if I want to cast in LA this time. The best actors for me are in New York. Or Nueva York is what he said. There's a difference in attitude. Most LA actors are on a Hollywood trip. They're into being stars, and that's it. The actors from New York are more about work, which is the way it should be. Give me actors like Bill Nunn and Sam Jackson anytime. And yeah, there's definitely a difference in attitude, as I'm told, in terms of New York's are hustlers, and they're always on the move, and LA's a little more fake, and so I understand that part. I agreed to write another short film for Saturday Night Live. It's going to be a parody commercial featuring Slick Mahoney selling blue and green contact lenses to black people and introducing a new color, sapphire. That's interesting. I have not seen this bit, but I thought I'd mention it anyway. Let's keep moving here. God willing, I'll finish my first draft around the beginning of March. That will give me 5 months before the 1st of August, when I want to start shooting. I can shoot all my exterior scenes in August and save my interiors for cover sets. That would be ideal. I would like the luxury of a 10-week shoot at least. And I have no idea how long an average shoot is, but that does seem a little fast. But this brother, he's from New York. He's a hustler, so he got it done. Let's see. Oh, this is interesting. Two of my first choices are Paramount Pictures and Touchstone. Jared Katzenberg at Touchstone is persistently pursuing my next film. I met with the big cheese at Paramount, Neg Tannen, Sig Gannis, and Gary Lucchese the last time I was out in the LA Paramount. Oh, I was out in LA. Paramount told me that they are interested. And since Paramount Communications Inc. owns the Knicks, I might finally get the season tickets to games I need and deserve. And yeah, he ends up, if anyone's watched a Knicks game, he ends up going to a lot of Knicks game over the years. And they're finally doing pretty decent this year, so he's probably happy about that. We'll skip down a little bit. I must reserve the right to approve the final cut of this film in my contract, which I think is important for all directors, because especially if you wrote you wrote the story and you directed it, like, you want to make sure your vision is correctly represented and nobody fucks with it. So, oh yeah, I'm not supposed to curse. Oop. But yeah, I completely understand that. After Do the Right Thing, I might do the autobiography of Malcolm X. The project is at Warner Brothers, and Denzel Washington, who played Malcolm in an off-Broadway play, is interested in the film role, which Denzel Washington did eventually end up doing Malcolm X. Let's see here. I'm going to keep pushing. So now we have an entry from December 27th, 1987. I would like this script to be circular. Every character should have a function. If a character is introduced, he or she should appear again and advance the script in some way, which is important, not leaving a lot of fat there, uh, making sure you're familiar with, and it kind of familiarizes you with each character's personality. I watch some movies where, I don't know, you just don't really get to know the characters that well, but I feel like in this movie, everybody from Giancarlo Esposito's character to Rosie Perez's character to Spike Lee's, they have very distinctive personalities, and you end up getting to know them throughout the film and identify with them. So, let's see. Skip along here. I'd be a fool not to work the subject of racism into Do the Right Thing, which is one of the predominant themes, from just building up throughout the film. Danny Aiello's character, who is named, let me find him, Sal, between his interaction with bugging out Giancarlo Esposito's character to obviously the final confrontation between Sal and Radio Raheem, who's played by Bill Nunn, um, rest in peace. You end up seeing race play out throughout, even between some of the people from the neighborhood and the Korean convenience store that's also in the film, so that's interesting. It's funny how the script is evolving into a film about race relations. This is America's biggest problem, always has been, since we got off the boat, always will be. I'm touched upon in my earlier works, but I haven't yet dealt with it head on as a primary subject. Skip ahead, just so I don't take too much time here. Let's see. Now I'm grounded. I know what I'm doing. It will be told from a black point of view. I've been blessed with the opportunity to express the views of black people who otherwise don't have access to power in the media. I have to take advantage of this while I'm still bankable. Let's see here. It's my character who sees a great injustice take place and starts the riot. He turns a garbage can upside down, emptying the trash in the street. Then he goes up to the pizza parlor screaming, "An eye for an eye, Howard Beach," and hurls the garbage can. I don't think he actually says that line, but he does throw the trash can into the pizzeria. Riot breaks out, and yeah, everybody starts going nuts. Let's see, what else? Oh yeah, this is a cool thing. He had his sister in the movie as well. My sister Joy will be the female lead in this film. With each film, she's gotten bigger and better roles. Joy's been studying acting with Alice Spivak, who taught me while I was at NYU. Joy has a natural thing with the camera. Either you have it or you don't, and Joy does. Now it's up to me to write the right role for her. She'll definitely be a star in this one. Joy will play my character's sister. We live together in an apartment on the block. For the most part, I'm shiftless and lazy and have no ambition. My sister always pushes me to do better, to expect more from myself. She works and goes to school at night. And I believe we have a picture of them as well. Let's see here. Bear with me. Let's see if we can't find it here. Oh, yes. Okay. Probably gonna be hard to see with my shitty camera, but this is a picture of Joy Lee, who is Spike Lee's sister. Alright, we're gonna move on to his December 28th entry, still the year of 1987. There might be a fruit and vegetable stand on the block, owned by a Korean family, which, like I said, that ended up being a convenience store, which is pretty accurate. Pretty accurate. During the riot scene, the entire black family is outside the store pleading, me black, me black, me no white, me black too. And I believe that line actually made it into the film. The Italian family that owns and runs the pizzeria does not live in the neighborhood. They live in Canarsie or Benhurst. And I think one of the most interesting things, and he ends up putting it into the film, is it's kind of more of like a visual thing. It's not really spoken on, but the character, I believe Vito, if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's Vito. Let's see here. Let's see. Yes, I do believe it. Oh no, Pino. Excuse me, Pino. That's the more racist one. John Turturro. He shows up to work in, I believe, a white shirt, or like a Hawaiian shirt, and he takes his shirt off every day before work and puts on like a white, work shirt, basically like a white tee. And it's kind of supposed to be like symbolic of he doesn't like where he works. He's not proud of his job, and he doesn't like the clientele. So I thought that was interesting. And he also talks about the scene, which I'm not going to repeat what was said in the scene, but it's basically a montage of all the different races throwing racial slurs at each other, which I get. On one hand, it highlights the racial tension in the city, but on another hand, it also, if you want to look at the silver lining, I guess highlights the diversity of New York City. That's the best I can do with that one. Well, we're at the damn near 30-minute mark, so I think I'm going to put a wrap on it. I will be back again to finish up the journal. Like I said, I might break this up into 3-4 parts, just because there's a lot of meat in the journal. Like, there's a lot of details, and like I said, I gotta watch the movie again so I can, take notes and kind of compare it against the journal and see what he conceptualized and what actually made it into the final cut. But once again, this is Jordan Jones, the Writers Podcast, and I'm out of here.